you have an accident with me tomorrow, can I sue you for your personal and your business proceeds if I know you have it, right?
Yes.
So if you're not in position to understand why you should have that, then that's where your tax advisor and your 7 spheres of money should be having a conversation with you. Unfortunately, you shouldn't be having that conversation today. You should have had it 3 months ago. You have to be proactive when you're developing these relationships, okay? Because right now, if you got a great accountant, what is he or she doing right now? She's answering everybody's problem, trying to get them tax returns out, working 100 hours a week minimum until April 15th, right? They're good, but guess what? They're not exceptional because they got X's and O's they have to do, but they want to give you adequate service, but they may not catch every new law on the books. Not their fault, because they have a task to do. Okay, make sense? So I want you to go out and learn about the tax laws because they can increase your cash flow. Even when your revenues are the same as they were last year, if you take advantage of the right laws with the right legitimate write-offs, you can enhance your business, okay? Know how these laws affect your business. Consult a tax advisor. I am not a tax advisor, okay? Number 5, credit. Mr. Boney, how important is credit? Didn't you say a lot of small business owners came to you get turned down? Anybody in this room outside of the bankers know what a DCR is? Well, let me give you a tip. 1998, I tried to buy my first 4-unit commercial building, and I got turned down. Not because I wasn't a good risk, but because I didn't know the rules of the road. A DCR is a debt-to-credit ratio. Even though I had a high credit score, my debt-to-credit ratios were too high. So I was more of a risk, even though I never missed a bill. So you need to know how to keep your credit scores high, but also your debt-to-credit ratios low. Now, conversely, let's say you acquire a commercial property that actually has a performer that has nothing to do with your personal credit, because that ratio will determine the value of the loan. Is that correct or incorrect? You're the banker guys? Mm-hmm. Is that it? Yeah. So when you know that, guess what? You can talk their language, and even if you're on the bubble, they'll say, this person has done their homework, so I do have the leisure and the room to help somebody out. You might just qualify for that opportunity, okay? By decreasing your debt credit scores, borrowing capital in a recessionary market is mandatory. I got out of college, I had a 525 credit score, had about $35,000 worth of consumable debt. But after that 1998 experience, my credit scores went from 525 to a median score of 860. And I've been there for the last 6 years. I never buy anything from a consumable aspect that I can't pay for in 30 days. I didn't say I don't use credit cards, but I pay them off in 30 days. That's discipline. Was I always like that? Absolutely not. But when I found the effect that it prevented me from accomplishing my dream, I said, do I want my dream or do I want mediocrity? I chose my dream. So there were some investments that had to take place. You need today to earn 800 credit score with a low debt to income ratio. It doesn't take a long time to get there, does it?
No.
Doing a little modifications and things like that the right way, not buying these programs that will change your credit score in 30 minutes. No, no. If it took me 25 years to get into bad debt, it's gonna take me more than 5 minutes to get out, right?
Right.
So as you're sitting down, guess what? In your 7 spheres of money, you should be talking with your tax person, your financial planner, and your banker. And they should be sitting down together saying, well, I think if we did this, we did that, and we presented them with a couple of options, let them choose, and now you can be responsible for the results. But you know what usually happens? They're competing for that one little dollar you have for commission, and they're fighting against each other. They don't even want to take the phone call. But in the real successful world, they're working together to help one become 3. Does that make sense? Okay. So build that relationship with your personal business banker. What better way to start today than right here with Capital One? Now, number 6, this is my pet peeve. How many of us have adequate emergency funds? All right, guess what? This will be the life of your business when you first start into business. Because when the bank is not going to give you the money because you haven't done what you needed to do, and when you tap out of your savings, where do you go? Here's what I want to recommend. Anyone in here that's making $50,000 and above, for every $10,000 you should have 1 month of emergency funds set aside, okay? Because the economy is harder nowadays. Now with your business, for every $200,000 that you have in revenues, you need to have access to a minimum of 6 to 36 months of liquid capital. And that could be a variety of different vehicles. That could be a signature loan. Real easy to get if you go in and build that personal relationship with the banker. If you just educate it, within 30 to 60 business days, you can have the ability to get a signature loan. How do I know that? Because I've done it. And I did it by default, and then I educated myself, developed that relationship, had everybody talking together. Does that make sense? Are you catching the theme here? What's the theme? Have them talk together or have them talk apart? Have them talk together, but you have to be the leader to bring them together and educate them on where you're trying to go. Now, you have access to different types of resources. Private investing, somebody was talking about that. It's a good point because sometimes you need that. You need to know what the terms, the rate of interest, the acquisition costs. In business, there's an acquisition cost. Isn't that right, Martin? This pen, this is a marketing tool, is an acquisition cost. But guess what? If one person in here says, you know what, let me get Martin a call, and he yields some business from it, was that a wise acquisition cost?
Absolutely.
Versus putting the billboard up right outside and not a relationship you built. Make sense? Yeah. And guess what? Another thing your 7 spheres of money are going to do for you, they're going to talk to their clients. Hey, I believe Helen can over here help you out because she's built a successful business, have been working with us for a couple of years. You ought to give her a call. I believe Mr. Boney can give you contacts with Dayla. You know, those are things that happen with that proper relationship. And last but not least, you have angel investing. They usually want equity. I heard somebody say they always want more. But at some point in time, you have to have the ability to say no, and then you have to say, well, what's the risk to get that yes, and what's the rate of return that I have to pay back the Indian giver? That's what my grandfather told me, okay? But obviously the traditional route is the first route that you want to go to, but you also have to know that these are accessible. How do I know that they're not successfully happening? Because you don't have that impact relationship. So here's what I want to conclude with. 7 Spheres of Money Professional Network works this way. Most small business owners may have 1 to 3 associations. Why do I call them associations? Because when do we see those professionals? We only see them time when it's to see them. We never call them in the summertime. We never call them, you know, when I'm vacationing. But guess what you should do? My attorney has become my best friend over the past 6 years because we have built a personal relationship, and she knows more about my business sometimes than I know. She has come to think like I think in situations to make it more effective for me to be successful. And I really appreciate that. You want the same thing on your team. Do you think honestly that the CEO of Capital One does not have a team of professionals advising him or her? Do you think that Lori Vignog does not have an incredible team? And just introduce ourselves, if you would, be kindly.
George Ortiz, Business Banking.
I'm Lisa Ty with Business Banking as well.
You see that? Incredible team. And they're taking input and they're giving it back to the decision makers to help all of us benefit from that. Does that make sense? So you want to nurture that relationship. You want to call up Mr. Boney and say, hey, Jeff, you know what? Is it possible we can put an event on together? I'm new here in town, but I've got a great business model that I think people can benefit from. I've been a speaker at your one-woman conference, and it was incredible. I saw the turnout. It was well put together by Miss Handy. I would love to do an event together with you. Is there some way we could do that? You know what Mr. Boney said? Hey, let's have lunch and talk about it. Start to cultivate that. Start to give. Once you build a relationship with your accountant, with your financial planner, throw them a bone. Give them a referral. Maybe they might work a little bit harder for you. It shouldn't be that way, but guess what? Do unto others as you want to have done unto you. That's the golden rule. But what I would guarantee you more success is, do unto others the way they want to be done unto is the platinum. Think about it. Go the extra mile. So at that point, you're going to educate those people. You're going to start qualifying them on what you want, what you don't want, okay? You're going to grow your business assets, and generally what Robert Kiyosaki says, within 5 years, you can go from 50K to 5 million with the right team in place. I've had the benefit of working with Robert Kiyosaki affiliate organization in 2002. I did an event with him in Chicago where we had access to 600 small business owners. And we did a third of business with them. Not because we were anybody special, because I picked up the phone, read his book, and had the audacity to call the number. And guess what? Who answered the phone? It wasn't Robert, but it was his accountant. And he said, hey, yeah, people are afraid to do that. I encourage you to do it, okay? Now, here's what you want to start doing. You want to start building these relationships step by step. These are the ones that I believe that you should start in no particular order, but I may be a little biased because I am in the financial planning and education business, so I happen to put that first. But really, your accountant should be your first and best friend. Okay? Secondly, you're a legal person. If you're gonna grow a business, you need to have two professionals in that field. You need to have a legal tax business advisor and a legal tax real estate advisor. Because if you are gonna be successful in small business, at some point in time, you're either gonna own or lease some type of business structure. Would you guys agree with that? So third should be your banking relationship, because they should be telling you, you know what? When you get from here, this is what things start to look like. When you go there, this is what you should expect. Maybe sometimes you might have to take a step back. And when they're sitting down and tell you, well, there's some legalities, your attorney should be sitting down and sharing with the can't even get out. You know what I mean. And then, in no particular order, you want to follow these step by step. It took me 10 years to develop my first team in the 7 spheres of money. It took me 4 years to redevelop my team that I'm currently putting together here in the Houston market over the last 2.5 years. But I knew what I want, I knew what to do, and I wouldn't accept anything less. Now, I want to close out and show you about some things that I think you should do when you leave today. Number one, today, you should go get yourself an insurance evaluation. Why do I say that? Your personal insurance, your business insurance. Because there's certain things that are going to impact your life. And why do I say that? Well, one, if you're in business, make sure you have the right business insurance. If you have partners, make sure you have a key man policy. Make sure you have general liability in the construction business. What about if your income, gets interrupted by injury? You should have interruption insurance. There's certain vehicles that you can use with the right team advising you. So I would encourage you to go get an insurance evaluation, because also there are what they call mortality rates, or that's based on actuarial science, where insurance actually becomes cheaper as we live longer. Okay? Second thing I would encourage you to do is to get a business banking evaluation. Why do you want to do that? How many people expect to expand someday in their business? How many people expect to open up another business? Well, if you go get that business evaluation, guess what you will be imparted with? The information to make that opportunity a successful event. What is success? When opportunity meets, preparedness, right? Then the third thing you should do is get a retirement evaluation, because here's the number one thing that all small business owners fail to do. When they open up their own business, they stop investing in their retirement. How do I know? You got 3 questions. The first 2 don't count because I did it. I opened up a cleaning business, took it to $1 million, and did not invest properly in myself or my key or with my employees because I was too busy hustling trying to get business. Okay? But why did I get in business? Why did you get in business? To have a great retirement and to control your destiny. So what the first thing you should do, even though it may be tough. My grandfather had roughly about a 6th, 7th grade education. He worked as a porter at the Hilton Hotel in Chicago for 40 years. But when he passed away, he left several $100,000 of cash, 2, 3 homes, and he never told me anything about money, but every day he showed us an ironclad example. He put 5 kids through college. I'm his grandchild. I also have a college education because I saw the example. That's what's important, okay? So with that, I just want to share with you those perspectives. So write down those top 2 financial goals for 2010. I want you to write that information, pass it up to me, okay? Secondly, if you would like to have a complimentary consultation with us, we'll be more than happy to do so, because we want to over-deliver and give you more added value. So what we did was we gave you some gifts. Hopefully you enjoy them. We also have a class that we teach. It's called the Family Finances 101. If you can pass that around real quickly. We're going to give you guys a tremendous opportunity to take advantage of that at a discount price based on the Texas Business Alliance. And I think Mr. Boney said that was okay for me to mention that, so I don't want to overstep any bounds. We're going to give you guys an opportunity to acquire our book, The ABCs of Wealth, get the TBA 26 luncheon, as well as the Symposium, and a set of 2 DVDs, which is a value of $1,000. We'll give it all to you for $115.